There is great shift occurring now, all over our planet. Loved ones are returning to prayer, seeking their highest purpose, and yearning to help and heal their fellow man. Please ground yourselves, settle in, and join us for Love, Serve, Feed People, and Remember God, an hour of authentic sharing, clarity, wisdom, and healing. Introducing Michael Brian Baker.
Humble greetings and gentle blessings, brothers and sisters. Welcome to Love, Serve, Feed People, and Remember God, broadcasting live out of Fred Siegel's studios, sponsored and supported by Bradley Quick and the Cool Change Foundation here in North Hollywood, California. My name is Michael Brian Baker, and I am a student of life and a practitioner of the healing arts. And I found a path of service that requires very little effort to remain in joy and balance, and I've dedicated my life to sharing with others how to get a little freer in their lives. We are a program dedicated to the enrichment of the human experience through natural healing and self-empowerment. And if you're making a difference in our world and would like to be a part of our show, please call our talent supervisor, Chris Takiamato. Hey, Chris, at chris@thebreathcenter.com. It's chris@thebreathcenter.com. Again, contact chris@thebreathcenter.com, and we'd love to feature you in your work. Love, Serve, Feed People, and Remember God features the best and brightest co-creating change in our world, leading by example and showing others how to do the same. Los Angeles is becoming and has become one of the world's greatest spiritual meccas. You can find spiritual practice just about anywhere. And we are here to introduce the rising stars in the practice of humility, grace, and compassion. For over 16 years, our rising superstar today has studied somatic therapies extensively at UCLA, Esalen Institute up in Big Sur, and the Pacific Gestalt Institute. In addition to a double bachelor's degree in theater arts and sociology, she holds a master's in social work from UCLA School of Public Policy. For over 20 years, she's been a community organizer and activist for HIV, AIDS, women on welfare, and domestic violence. She currently operates a nonprofit counseling program for women's empowerment in South Central Los Angeles and has been a consultant to the LA Police Department and also LA Mayor Antonio Villagrosa. And she has she's a psychotherapist and a clinical hypnotherapist who also teaches graduate-level psychotherapy students at USC, UCLA, and Pepperdine University. And if that's not enough, even more important, our guest is the creator of Sacred Dance, a healing model of expressive movement, and the producer of Sacred Dance Live, which is a popular ongoing conscious movement and dance event here in Los Angeles. She's a devout activist healer who believes in creativity as a catalyst for change. Some might even say she's elegantly marries the profound with the playful. Please welcome to the show today, Eva Clay.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi. It's good to be here.
That was a long intro, wasn't it?
It's a big life.
I intentionally did that. You know, you have you've gone through a lot of education. You've done a lot of studying, and I think that this should become a model in a way for today's show because of the work that you're doing now, because it's so creative. It's so dug into what our community actually really needs. You know, having all of the bylines after the name and the education is very nourishing, and it definitely adds to self-esteem and you know, feeling like, hey, I'm ready to do this. But it's interesting where you ended up, right?
It is. I am a certificate junkie. I like the credentials, yeah.
Did you, are you an LA native?
I actually grew up in Anaheim in Orange County and managed to make my way out of Orange County by the time I was in my mid-20s. So, yeah.
Okay. And yet brothers and sisters?
I do. I have 2 older brothers. I'm the youngest and the only girl in my family.
Wow. Did you get picked on or special treatment?
Terribly spoiled.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. And mom and dad, were they spiritual seekers at all, or?
Not at all. You know, I had an interesting childhood. I think my mom would say that she's agnostic. My father is probably more atheistic. So I really grew up without any kind of spiritual practice whatsoever. Yet I was always a very spiritual being. So I would find myself tagging along with my Catholic friends to Mass or my Jewish friends to synagogue, just because I felt like I wanted something to believe in a kind of structure. And I would always pray to spirits and to animals and plants and earth beings. And looking back now, I'm actually very appreciative of the way I grew up, because I kind of had a blank slate, and I just began to really create my spiritual beliefs by the time I was a teenager.
Wow.
Yeah, so I didn't have anything to undo.
Yeah,
I
you were already doing the practice anyway.
I didn't have any programming at all.
That's great. When you have an interesting background in arts and psychology and social activism, how did that all unfold for you? Especially because you just shared that you were connected to the earth and all things kind of alchemic at a very young age.
Always, yes. My first kind of belief in spirit was Mother Nature. As sort of my first goddess. And I came into the arts very early. I was always a creative person and an expressive person. And in high school, I was in theater and in drama, and I was also a writer. And that led into my theater arts major in college. And, you know, in college, I took a director's program to be a director and a writer in the theater. And I began to direct and write plays about social consciousness and social issues. And I directed a play about rape. It's called Extremities. I didn't write it, but it's a brilliant play about rape. And it changed my life, because what happened was audience members would come in and leave the show crying or having a kind of trigger of their own traumas. And I began to use the theater as a way of educating people and raising consciousness about underserved or marginalized populations or social issues. And I began to understand what a powerful medium that was.
That's fantastic. You were creating cathartic experience through stage.
Absolutely, and I began to run like debriefing circles after the show,
Wow.
for victims to come and talk about their experience, or to people to become empowered by what they were learning. And so from there was a catalyst, and I began to invest myself more in socially conscious issues and in theater. Yeah. From there, it just sort of lit my fire, and I went into a sociology major, because I felt like in order to really deliver the message, I needed to know what it was. I needed to know the facts. I needed to know the politics and the policy and the legislation, and really become active in my world. So the sociology and theater really went well together, and I eventually began to release my life vision of being an actress and a writer and a dancer and a creative person in the theater. I thought, I felt like, okay, Spirit used me. And I felt like Spirit said to me, okay, not so much on the actress thing, but yes, we need you as an activist. Go to work.
Wow.
Here you go.
That's beautiful. And you went through and had all of these degrees, and then were, I'm assuming, led to something that fed you more, because you're very passionate, right? And there came a time in your path, because you were doing great work already. I mean, socially, a social worker, you're already involved in creating change. Talk a little bit. Well, you know what? So you say that sacred dance is a method that evolved from, the love of the human body and fascination with religious states found in shamanic energy ceremonies and tantric practices.
Absolutely.
Talk a little bit about how that
How did that
develop.
come to be? Yeah. Well, I began to get very interested in psychology, because I was an AIDS activist, and I felt like in order to be an effective activist, I had to really understand and get inside the experience of what it felt like to be in these populations. Yeah. So I got my credential to be a psychotherapist, specifically to do psychotherapy with AIDS victims or people living with AIDS and HIV. And from there, I was really able to marry all of the creative background that I had and the creative passions with the psychology and the sort of intelligence of healing, along with the art of healing. And it's just been a very beautiful path, a great evolution. I love to experiment and explore with different ideas and different approaches, and always just really wanting to be the best that I can be in order to be of service. I feel like we sort of have a responsibility to actualize who we are and our gifts and our talents in the world, because our planet needs it.
How do you feel helping to facilitate that in others and watching them blossom as a result of what you've created?
Oh, it's brilliant. It's beautiful. I feel like it's what I'm here to do is to create transformation, whether it be on a personal level, a community level, or a planetary level, or universal level. You know, that I'm here to really push us or lead us either way to the next level of our awareness. And you know, I was just able to, you know, coming into sacred dance, able to bring my background in the arts and in radical self-expression and all the experiences that I was having at, say, Burning Man and other festivals into the dance and into that expression of my passion.
I think that there's so much, we're living in such a beautiful, beautiful time. This period that we've all been gifted with, because there's so much grist for the mill. My teacher, Ram Dass, wrote a book called Grist for the Mill. So much to experience. And it doesn't have to be so serious or so heavy.
No.
It can be a little playful,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I think that you bring that to healing.
I hope so.
It's truly beautiful. We're going to go to a break, and then we'll come back and we'll share a little bit more and tell people how to get involved too.
Great.
Thank you for coming and joining us today. All right. Ava Clay, creator of Sacred Dance, here today on Love, Serve, Feed People, and Remember God. I am Michael Brian Baker, and we are here Thursdays at 2 o'clock on Cool Change Radio. Please stay tuned, and thanks for coming in and getting your healing on. There's lots more to share. We'll be right back.
Have you been bit by the travel bug? Don't miss this one-time, life-changing opportunity to experience healing beyond your imagination. October 12th, it's the Mystic Sufi Healing Journey, destination Istanbul and Cappadocia, Turkey. Dissolve into the many sights, smells, and fresh foods of the Far East and experience luxury cave dwelling at its finest. Fill your soul with 10 days of healing, breathwork, meditation, and yoga with Michael Brian Baker. Immerse yourself into Cappadocia's rich culture. Bathe in the mineral hot springs. Enjoy the thrill of hot air ballooning. Explore underground cities and rock-hewn frescoed churches. Traverse the valley on horseback and shop in local markets. Hurry, as October's approaching and space is limited. Visit www.thebreathcenter.com. That's thebreathcenter.com. Click on the events page and join us. Don't miss out. That's www.thebreathcenter.com. Thebreathcenter.com. Click on the events page and join us.
Please don't forget about me. If you don't work to heal now, what type of world will be left for us kids when we grow up? Remember that when we heal ourselves, we heal our world. My future depends on it. Keep listening to Love, Serve, Feed People, and Remember God with Michael Brian Baker.
Today, experience The Quick Fix, a simple process for positive change. Written by Bradley Quick, author, producer, motivational speaker, and host of the award-winning radio talk show, The Quick Fix with Bradley Quick on CoolChangeRadio.com. Bradley's passion for life is evident in his book, written so you can experience health, find your purpose, and have more effective relationships. Beating insurmountable odds, overcoming death, and being paralyzed, Bradley fought his way back so he could help you conquer your struggles. Experience increased health, vitality, passion, and purpose in your life right now with The Quick Fix, and read about Bradley's courage, ambition, and determination to live. Whether the issue is your thoughts, your physical body, or you just want to feel better and be happy, The Quick Fix, a simple process for positive change, will change your life. For only $19.95 plus shipping and handling. Take positive action now and receive a free guided meditation CD with your order. That's a $20 value free with your order today. Go to BradleyQuick.com. That's BradleyQuick.com. Take control and begin feeling better now. Get the book and free CD now at BradleyQuick.com.
Welcome back, brothers and sisters. Thank you for hanging with us this Thursday afternoon. Love, Serve, Feed People, Remember God, broadcasting live out of Fred Siegel Studios here in North Hollywood, California. Today with us, the divine Eva Clay, creator of Sacred Dance. And as a facilitator, Eva is a master at holding a compassionate container where people can safely lean into their fire, the fire of their transformation, and invoke joy, healing, and release. That sounds incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So talk a little bit more about what ecstatic dance is.
I'd love to. Ecstatic dance is a really big buzzword right now, and it's a growing movement. It's really exciting. Ecstatic dance is kind of a catch-all term to just basically describe dance that leads us to a state of ecstasy, or dance that leads us to these transcendent healing states. Sometimes we call it the theta state. Sometimes we call it trance. But it's essentially dance that leads us to these exalted states where healing and transformation happen very quickly. Yeah, there's no one model or form. There are many different expressions of ecstatic dance, all of them very beautiful. I always suggest to people, if you hear the word ecstatic dance, just go check it out and have fun and experiment with it.
How did it come about?
For me, I have always been going to Esalen Institute a lot, and Esalen Institute is sort of like the birthplace of ecstatic dance, really, or 5 rhythms. And this was, 12 or 13 years ago or something. I had my first class there, and I was immediately hooked. And I came back to LA and said, I have to find this in LA. And sure enough, I found a little workshop, which is the workshop that is my predecessor. So I took that workshop over and created Sacred Dance Live from it.
Oh, that's great. Is it part of Gestalt therapy movement?
It's not part of, but there's a really strong overlap, a really beautiful overlap, and really, in the idea that the human body possesses everything it needs already for its own healing, and that we need only to kind of clear whatever's blocking us from our highest actualization. And Gestalt therapy is basically of that belief, and so is dance and movement. Yeah.
Do you teach up in Esalen? Do you teach courses?
I don't, not yet.
Not yet.
Hopefully.
That's on the books for
yeah,
2013.
One day. Yeah, one day. But I go quite often, yeah.
I love Esalen. There's always something incredible going on there. If you folks haven't had the chance to get out to Esalen, do. What's the website that what's your website right now so people can visit?
Yeah, please come visit, look around. We are www.sacreddancelive.com.
www.sacreddancelive.com. Again, www.sacreddancelive.com. Why is dance so important? It's a very basic question, but there's something very tribal about it, and I think we've forgotten the simplicity of moving the body. Freeform, even more importantly, right? So how does that tie in? Why is it so important?
Absolutely. Well, I think we're seeing a huge resurgence of dance coming into not only the counterculture underground, but also in mainstream. Look at all the new shows that are out these days that are centered on dance, Dancing with the Stars, So You Think You Can Dance, and people are loving it because dance is a very natural, primal expression of our emotional body, and it's a way that we connect very quickly to the divine. And with a lot of Western religions, there's been an unfortunate divorce between the body and the mind, between the body and the spirit. And I think there's a movement to bring it back because we're beginning to recognize and intuit on a very deep, maybe even unconscious level, how important it is to be present in our bodies, to be in the home of our bodies because our spirit is expressing powerfully through us. And that if we're not attuned and aware of our own bodies, then we're not as effective as an expressive point of light on the planet.
True. Yeah. In the movement that you've created, you have 1,400, 1,600 people on the Facebook page too, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it's a big community. What is it? Sacred Dance Live also on Facebook?
On Facebook, we are Sacred Dance.
Sacred Dance. So check out Sacred Dance on Facebook too, and
join the tribe.
Yeah, join the tribe.
Yeah.
What would be the connection between dance and spirituality?
Yeah, that's a great question. Dance and spirituality. Well, from the dawn of time, dance has been a spiritual practice, and I'm very interested in what happens kind of scientifically in the body and the brain when we dance. And what happens is when we move to rhythm, You can think of it in like a shamanic sense. When we move to rhythm repetitively, the brain easily drops into what we call theta waves. It's the place where you go into when you're in hypnosis or in trance. And when you're in that place, the brain becomes very plastic, very permeable. So what's available to us is that we're able to release any self-limiting beliefs or any conditioning that we're ready to let go of, and invite in beliefs and practices that we want to invite. So it becomes a very flexible and fluid state of being. And it also allows us to transcend any psychological obstructions we have to knowing and experiencing God. So it's a pure and ecstatic state when we can drop into those theta waves, and it's done a lot through dance. You know, we see it at raves, we see it at festivals.
Tribal. It's reconnecting to that which breathes us.
Absolutely. And I'm here to say that, like, we don't necessarily need to go to the festival or to the rave or to the nightclub, and we definitely don't need substances to reach that state either. In fact,
agreed, wholeheartedly agreed.
It's reached in a more holistic and thorough way when we're completely sober. And this is what I'm doing with Sacred Dance Live, is helping people achieve this.
The endorphins are released. And you talked a little bit about what I would refer to in a clinical setting, brain plasticity. So increasing the ability for the individual to recreate new patterns, new neurological links, physically, physiologically.
Neural pathways. Yeah.
And through movement.
Yeah.
So that delves into a little more of the somatic side of movement, and you actually studied somatic psychology
a lot. Yeah.
How did that inspire? How does that play into the way that you work with the musicians you choose? There's probably quite a bit of intention that goes into each experience.
Absolutely. And yeah, thanks for mentioning that, because there's a lot of intention and deliberation that we put into sacred dance. You know, everyone who's involved with it, it's my idea, but I have many great contributors and supporters and musicians, and they're, you know, really all on this page that music, rhythm, dance is, you know, a way to channel the divine and bring healing for everybody. And I'm interested in somatics and in the science of movement, because we know, I think we all know dance is good for you, you know, that it feels good and that it's fun and that we feel better after we do it. But I think it's important, especially in our spiritual communities and in the kind of counterculture underground communities that I'm a part of, that we also bring the intelligence, that we also bring the science and the knowledge, and in some ways sort of legitimize the practices that we all love so much, so that we can bring it to a wider audience. And we can say, this works, and now we know why. And that this is what's going on inside of the body and the brain, and to create a structure around it that's actually more effective. So I think the more knowledge that we have, the more effective we can be.
They say in a lot of the Kiro practices, the more knowledge that we have, that it takes knowledge to control energy, which affects matter. Mm-hmm. So the more knowledge that we have of something, the less energy that it takes to actually work with that matter. Right? Yeah. So you talked about something that I find fascinating, underground counterculture. You talk a little bit about that? What's forming? What's organically unfolding underneath what the subversive eye sees?
Yeah, well, there's I call it the emergent convergence. Mm-hmm. You know, that I think more and more people are wanting to step out of the matrix, you know, step out of the mainframe of what's going on socially and get into some alternative ideas, because I think, frankly, our planet is in crisis and we need it. And we need to step into new paradigms for lots of things, for relationships, for health, sexuality, expression. And we're looking for new models. And I think that there's a really exciting and very dynamic edge happening in the counterculture communities, at least that I'm involved in, and dance is one of them. And what I see happening is people who maybe go to Burning Man or who go to festivals are growing up, and they're realizing that all of this time and resource they spend in their party, that they could be putting it toward a purpose. And there's a really interesting marriage that's happening now between, a party with a purpose idea. And that's part of what Sacred Dance is based on also, in that we can still step into that festival culture and that festival vibration and the celebratory state of being and the tribal unit. But we don't have to go to the festival to do it, that we can come together regularly, even weekly, and use dance and movement not just as an expression or a celebration, but also as our spiritual practice.
So the dance becomes the temple, it becomes the synagogue, the church, the mosque. And would you say that the experience of attending Sacred Dance live is like attending a festival?
It's like a 3-hour mini festival because people become so close, and there's a deep bonding and relationship that develops when people are in that field of energy together. So huge transcendent experiences, breakthroughs, breakdowns, deep, deep connection.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
We're going to go to a break. Yeah, we'll be right back.
Have you been bit by the travel bug? Don't miss this one-time, life-changing opportunity to experience healing beyond your imagination. October 12th, it's the Mystic Sufi Healing Journey, destination Istanbul and Cappadocia, Turkey. Dissolve into the many sights, smells, and fresh foods of the Far East and experience luxury cave dwelling at its finest. Fill your soul with 10 days of healing, breathwork, meditation, and yoga with Michael Brian Baker. Immerse yourself into Cappadocia's rich culture. Bathe in the mineral hot springs. Enjoy the thrill of hot air ballooning. Explore underground cities and rock-hewn frescoed churches. Traverse the valley on horseback and shop in local markets. Hurry, as October's approaching and space is limited. Visit www.thebreathcenter.com. That's thebreathcenter.com. Click on the events page and join us. Don't miss out. That's www.thebreathcenter.com. Thebreathcenter.com. Click on the events page and join us.
You're listening to Love, Serve, Feed People, and Remember God with Michael Brian Baker.
This has never been attempted before by any treatment center, ever. Seasons Malibu is willing to take the risk because they understand quality care and evidence-based long-term recovery. Pay for only 3 months of treatment and stay until you are better, period. I'll say that one more time. Pay for only 3 months of treatment and stay until you are better. Enough is enough. Seasons Malibu wants to count your days of recovery, not the dollars in your pocket. No gimmicks, no guarantees, just straightforward world-class treatment until you are better. Do not hesitate. Call now. Seasons Malibu, 866-780-8539, 866-780-8539. That's Seasons Malibu at www.seasonsmalibu.com or 866-780-8539. 866-780-8539 for a free consultation and details. 866-780-8539.
Welcome back. I am Michael Brian Baker. This is Love, Serve, Feed People, which we'll be doing tonight in West Los Angeles. And Remember God. Get all that in there. We are a healing arts movement out of West Los Angeles. We also do work in Istanbul. We do work in Turkey, New York City, Chicago, Philadelphia, San Diego, San Francisco. We've got people all over the place working with different modalities around empowerment and the breath and yoga and cleansing and pranic work and Reiki and movement, and it's become such a beautiful, beautiful gift to be part and, be a pioneer of this movement. There's so much open space. If you're interested in either feeding people or hospice or maybe prison outreach or being a guest on the show, if you have healing to do for yourself or a family member, if you'd like to come and study, you could come to one of our Universal Healing Camps. And there's a lot of opportunity to get involved with healing. Just reach out for info@thebreathcenter.com. It's info@thebreathcenter.com. Again, info@thebreathcenter.com. And we will get back to you as soon as possible. We've also got an event coming up Friday night at the Silver Lake JCC. It's an Earth Healing Sacrament. and it begins at 6:30. So please join us there. And then we also have Breathing with Wolves up in Acton at the Wolf Connection at the end of October, and just a lot of great opportunities to get involved. I always like to tell people, come get involved to evolve. Get in the mix and get your healing on. Lots of incredible opportunities. Our guest today is Eva Clay. She is the creator of Sacred Dance Live. Having a good time today talking about the work that you're doing.
Great time.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
Yeah.
And let's tell people again, you can visit www.sacreddancelive.com. It's sacreddancelive.com. For those of you that didn't have a pen or a pencil, it's sacreddancelive.com. We have an event coming up first week of October. You can talk a little bit about what's available for people.
Yeah, come check it out. October 4th at the Church in Ocean Park in Santa Monica. Is such a beautiful space. It's been our residence for the last 3 years. So every month we have a rotation of guest artists, sometimes musicians, live musicians, sometimes DJs, all of them definitely on the conscious wavelength. On October 4th, we have Deepak and the Breath of Life Tribe, or the Bolt, coming to drop their funky jams. It's going to make us all groove and shake. Super excited.
They're so good.
They're so good. And
Were you at Bhakti Fest?
Of course.
Oh my
yeah.
God. Was that not one of the most powerful? Those guys are incredible.
Yeah. Deepak's been a part of Sacred Dance since the very first day, and he's a brother. So come and check that out. We have Anne-Marie Solo, who is teaching yoga. And just log on to the website to check our future schedule and come play with us. Even if you don't dance, it's, just come and check out the scene. And I always say that your authenticity is your dance. Whatever you bring in the room, we welcome.
Do people have to sign up? Because I know it is pretty... You guys are looking for a bigger space, though.
We
now,
are
right?
looking for, so let's put the word out. We need a bigger space with a nice floor.
Tell them right
Yes,
there. Tell them exactly what you need.
Sacred Dance is growing in such a beautiful way. So yeah, we are looking for a new space. We need a nice floor, preferably on the west side or someplace in central LA, where we can just start to really bring the beats and get this thing going.
What would be the best way for them to get in touch with you or one of your people if there's somebody that does know of a large space for you?
Yes, please bring it on. You can email me through the Sacred Dance Live website. That's a great way.
Okay,
yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And then you also have a retreat coming up.
Yes, I'm so excited to be a part of this retreat. It's the first annual ecstatic dance retreat. It's at Kalani on the Big Island.
Oh my God.
Hawaii. Kalani, is kind of like the birthplace of ecstatic dance. Next to Esalen, and there's a wonderful group of teachers primarily from the Bay Area who are coming to teach, including Suzanne Sterling, Samantha Sweetwater, some really wonderful people. Craig Holland of Shaman Stream also will be there and is part of producing the festival. So I'm very honored to be asked to teach sacred dance. If you go to the Sacred Dance website, you can find information. This retreat is coming up in the middle of November, and if you mention Sacred Dance when you register, we're happy to offer you a 10% discount. So
wonderful.
Who can refuse?
Yeah, who can refuse?
Yeah, it's paradise.
When is the date again, just so that people can write it down if they didn't?
November 12th through the 18th.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's a sale going on right now with Hawaiian Airlines. I think it's only like $300 or something for a round trip.
Oh, now you really got to go.
$300 So yeah, come and play in paradise.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about activism and your involvement in the inner cities. What is, when you talk about, I know one of the phrases that you like to use is embodied activism. Yeah. And I'm assuming, again, Sacred Dance Live, everything is about moving. When we move our physical bodies, and what we call in yoga a rudrasic state rather than a tamasic or tamasic state, which is stagnant, things tend to move in our lives. And activism, being our work in the world, embodied activism means what to you?
Yeah, it means, okay, I'm going to give you the simple definition, then the science of it. The simple definition is really that the more we move and express, the greater we heal, and the more healed we are, the greater service we're able to be because we've released our blocks. And what happens on a scientific level is when we dance with a group of people, we activate what we call mirror neurons. So we actually begin to mirror each other and sync up in our nervous system. So we're able to feel empathy in a much deeper and thorough way. So the more we dance in a group, whether it be a nightclub or a festival or a Sacred Dance Live, whatever, we expand our capacity for empathy. And when we're able to empathize with each other on the dance floor, we're able to generalize then that empathy out to our family, to our community, to our country, to our planet, to our universe. And empathy is a key central figure when we talk about activism. You know, people get into action and become advocates for underserved populations because they empathize with that experience, right? So I say bring it to the dance floor, learn how to step into each other's shoes through the act of the dance and through the movement, and see where your heart goes with that. What I notice is that people who dance regularly as a practice and who dance in sobriety and who dance with consciousness, it gets very difficult to ignore what's going on in the world. It gets difficult to turn away from people in need within their community. So I'm seeing this with the rise of dance. I'm also seeing this rise of social accountability and social awareness. So they're very much inextricable. They go hand in hand.
Mm. And do you see that a lot of people, I'm assuming that people that come through and become part of community, there's a huge shift where they actually start to walk their path in the world as a result of moving what's going on inside, releasing blockages, feeling more comfortable. A lot of people being comfortable in large groups, feeling like we belong. What
Bingo.
A gift.
Bingo.
Creating that first root chakra.
I was going to say, I've got
connection. I just got it right here, left side.
I've got my tattoo. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the root chakra. Yeah.
So grounding and becoming tribe. This, which is one of the reasons why I asked you about the underground, because that's really what that is. It's us returning to our tribal roots and creating. We have the birth family, and the birth family is our boot camp, right? Just go back for Thanksgiving dinner.
It's training.
Yeah, your enlightenment goes right out the door. You know, no, I know you. Get out of the white robe. You know, but the culture that we choose, our spirit family, right? This incredible community that you've built. This is the actual foundation for creating that belonging. Right.
Absolutely, and that's been the design of it from the start. You know, I am strategic. Mwahaha. You know, I call myself a social architect. So, you know, I really love blending all these diverse communities and having everyone come together, having musicians from a certain scene coupled with a yoga teacher from a different scene, and just seeing what we can create in this cauldron. You know, this cauldron of creativity, and absolutely, you know, we are hardwired physically, spiritually, somatically to live tribally, to live in units. But mostly we're not doing that anymore. So I'm here because I want to bring it back. And I bring it back through the dance and through creating community. And people who come to Sacred Dance absolutely become members of the tribe. And it does trigger all of our tribal wiring. And that's why we become so close. You know, and we can come to this space that is unconditionally loving and unconditionally accepting of whoever you are, whatever your colors are, however you roll or not roll, you know, bring it all.
Right.
We love it.
When you talk about, you use the word sober, how important is this to you that the folks that are coming to practice with you are not under the influence of any type of outside?
Well, we're not like, you know, doing breathalyzers or anything at the door, but
Why not?
you know, I'm not overly like attached to that, but I think that we get more from the practice of dance. It's kind of like from, you know, in many different spiritual disciplines of really being in that place of clarity. And I have no judgment, you know, I have no judgment otherwise, but I say when you go into a room for ecstatic dance, when you come into Sacred Dance Live, like really milk the experience, you know, be in your truth. I think that's the bottom line, is that I welcome that truth, the true expression. And people are free, you know, to do whatever they want with that. And also it's a respectful space that we try to create.
Yeah, it's a temple, like you said.
Yeah.
It is the sacred temple within the sacred temple of the physical form within the sacred temple of the container that you're creating.
Well
the
stated.
musicians. Yeah. And consciousness or being aware, we already have that balance. It's given to us by the divine. So this gives people an opportunity to experience the ecstatic states that come from natural.
And it's so available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another break. We'll be right back,
Beautiful.
okay?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks to Ava Clay and all of you who are with us today on Love, Serve, Feed People, Remember God. We are going to a break and we'll be right back. SacredDanceLive.com.
Today, experience The Quick Fix, a simple process for positive change. Written by Bradley Quick, author, producer, motivational speaker, and host of the award-winning radio talk show, The Quick Fix with Bradley Quick on CoolChangeRadio.com. Bradley's passion for life is evident in his book, written so you can experience health, find your purpose, and have more effective relationships. Beating insurmountable odds, overcoming death, and being paralyzed, Bradley fought his way back so he could help you conquer your struggles. Experience increased health, vitality, passion, and purpose in your life right now with The Quick Fix, and read about Bradley's courage, ambition, and determination to live. Whether the issue is your thoughts, your physical body, or you just want to feel better and be happy, The Quick Fix, a simple process for positive change, will change your life. For only $19.95 plus shipping and handling. Take positive action now and receive a free guided meditation CD with your order. That's a $20 value free with your order today. Go to BradleyQuick.com. That's BradleyQuick.com. Take control and begin feeling better now. Get the book and free CD now at BradleyQuick.com.
You're listening to Love, Serve, Feed People, and Remember God with Michael Brian Baker.
Have you been bit by the travel bug? Don't miss this one-time, life-changing opportunity to experience healing beyond your imagination. October 12th, it's the Mystic Sufi Healing Journey, destination Istanbul and Cappadocia, Turkey. Dissolve into the many sights, smells, and fresh foods of the Far East and experience luxury cave dwelling at its finest. Fill your soul with 10 days of healing, breathwork, meditation, and yoga with Michael Brian Baker. Immerse yourself into Cappadocia's rich culture. Bathe in the mineral hot springs. Enjoy the thrill of hot air ballooning. Explore underground cities and rock-hewn frescoed churches. Traverse the valley on horseback and shop in local markets. Hurry, as October is approaching and space is limited. Visit www.thebreathcenter.com. That's thebreathcenter.com. Click on the events page and join us. Don't miss out. That's www.thebreathcenter.com. Thebreathcenter.com. Click on the events page and join us.
Welcome back. I am Michael Brian Baker, principal at the Breath Center out of West Los Angeles. Our show, Love, Serve, Feed People, and Remember God, is a public service in deep, deep gratitude and thanks for the resolve and peace that come from the great teachings of all of the Ascended Masters, but predominantly Hai Siddha, Neem Karoli Baba, and Dr. Richard Alpert, better known as Ram Dass. Again, I am Michael Brian Baker, the principal and founder of the Breath Center, which is a holistic healing movement created out of West Los Angeles, California, with one mission and one purpose only, and that is the self-realization of our fellow man and peace on planet Earth. We will settle for nothing less in our homes, and we should settle for nothing less in our world. We wouldn't have a war in our living rooms, and so there's no reason to be continuing with this ridiculousness outside of our living rooms. It's time that we step up and mature a little bit. This must be done one heart within one person, one household, one community, one city, state, country, and nation, and planet at a time. And remember, no job is too small. The Breath Center offers extraordinary healing opportunities for ordinary people just like you and me through pretty ancient modalities, but in a contemporary setting. And profound healing can happen in an instant, and you make it so. So call today, 310-592-7210, 310-592-7210. 310-592-7210. Remember, we practice together as a collective to help increase awareness around nutrition and detox and cleansing and sacred dance and breath work and yoga and all the modalities healing. And we hope that you'll consider joining our movement too. And you can do that by again, calling me or visiting thebreastcenter.com. We're welcoming back Eva Clay today to the show, and she is the creator of Sacred Dance Live and so much more. We were at the break trying to decide how we would wrap up the show. The show goes by very quickly. First thing is visit sacreddancelive.com. Do visit sacreddancelive.com. You have an opportunity to practice with Eva and Breath of Life Tribe on the 4th of October, Thursday night in Santa Monica. And you can find that information on the website. And there's also a retreat to Hawaii. Tickets are cheap. If you're pulling your hair out and you're having a rough time right now, get a sitter and head out to Hawaii and spend some time with Eva and her crew. I'm sure that you'll find the healing that you're searching for. So at the break we were talking a little bit about relationships, and boy, are they shifting.
Wow, when we all want to know what is going on.
I like the language that you used during the break.
I won't repeat that.
So in your circle, what do you see happening? A lot of movement for sure, right?
A lot of movement. I think, and this is something I specialize in my private psychotherapy practice. I work with singles who are kind of struggling and trying to figure out how to date and really want to meet their soulmate. And, as I work with them, I definitely bring in what I see in my communities, which is we're all looking for a new model. We're looking for a new paradigm. We know that what we saw in our parents, we don't want necessarily. What we see in our community, we're not sure we want, but we don't know what else is available to us. And, what the line that I take with relationships, I know there's always been this debate or this question around polyamory or monogamy, and I'm not sold either way personally, but I think that relationships are spiritual lessons, and if we embrace dating as kind of target practice is what I call it, that the more we do it progressively, we get closer and closer to our truth, and that we meet a beloved and we share a path for a duration of time. We don't know how long that time will be. It's not always up to us, that relationships are an assignment. And when the assignment is complete, the gifts have been exchanged, we move forward, we move on. And I just say to everybody, be patient, hold tight, look to teachers, keep your grounding and stay in your truth. I think relationships are here to bring us deeper into our discipline. So I know every relationship I've had definitely has driven me either out of desperation or panic or joy or some extreme state into some kind of spiritual practice. And I think that's the gift we offer each other when we fall in love or when we enter the sacred state of relationship.
When you look at the relationship in the tantric or yogic philosophy, there would be a lesson to all mankind around looking outside of the self for any type of balance, resolve, joy, or resolve, really. And every time we do, we kind of get sent back inside. And so I'm kind of feeling that I love what you said about relationship being like a mission, and then when it's done, the lessons have been learned, and then we move on, right? And everybody has this mindset, though, that a relationship is actually has a failure or how long did it go? I'll hear people talk about being in a 17-year marriage, and they'll say, my marriage failed.
Yeah, there's no failure.
And I'd say, 17 years? Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
you absolutely succeeded. I'm giving out gold medals for people that made it 2 years.
17 years or 17 hours, either way. There's no failure.
Exactly.
If we really embrace the lesson. If we don't embrace the lesson, then usually we just repeat the relationship.
Over and over again.
And this is what I call Groundhog Day. If you've seen the movie Groundhog Day with Bill Murray, that sometimes, in relationships we get stuck in Groundhog Days and we keep repeating them until we get the lesson. And, that's something just to, I can't help it, but part of the intention of Sacred Dance also is to help us to reflect and to refract and to explore the way that we relate, our relatedness. When we're doing free form or ecstatic dance, there's all kinds of like relationship cosms that are going on the dance floor. And I think how you do anything is how you do everything. And the way that you maneuver on a dance floor, the way that you approach people or contract from them or engage relationally just through the dance, non-verbally, becomes a kind of mini relationship. And we can actually push ourselves, we can nurture ourselves, we can experiment with new ways of relatedness just through the dance. So if we bring that consciousness and intentionality to it, it can be really rich. We can actually learn and grow and expand our repertoire of how we engage with each other. You know, I see this a lot happening between men and women on the dance floor at Sacred Dance. You know, that men might have a rehearsed way that they approach women or a prescribed or socially conditioned way that they relate. And I see them breaking out of that. I see them approaching women respectfully. I see them approaching women with honoring. And I see women opening to men that they might not open to ordinarily. And so it can be a very deeply therapeutic and illuminating experience if we choose to see it that way.
Let's talk about the feminine divine and what you see. I like what you just said because there's definitely a movement out of a boys club mentality. There is guys, I'm sorry to say this, not maybe necessarily in our direct community, but there is an ignorance, and ignorance is not a four-letter word. It just means that we failed to see something clearly. The way that we were raised around acquisition and status and things that would, it's why there's so much seeking from the masculine side and so much need to control and codependency and all kinds of different, what I would just call maybe character defects or, they're just learning. It's a big classroom, right? Yeah. So when you, leading this large group and being, you're part of this feminine movement, really. Yeah. What do you see happening in that shift?
I think that, dance a lot of times can be a very feminine expression. The body representing the feminine, the reflective, the dark, the shadow aspect.
It's all constantly shifting.
Yeah, right? Constantly shifting for sure. And I think that we are teaching men really how to not only embrace their feminine, but to be men, to also polarize us in really healthy ways. And I see more and more men showing up to Sacred Dance and embracing dance and movement as a practice, and I'm so excited about that. It's just awesome. And I think that I think our planet actually is beginning to shift toward a more feminine-centric, I would say, model, meaning the qualities of women are now being espoused more and more in places like upper management, where qualities of collaboration, cooperation, and communication are being valued more and more. So in terms of what I see on the dance floor, I think women are modeling that for men. We're modeling how to embrace the feminine within them, but to do so as men. Yeah, and I think that that's important also.
When you, for people that haven't had the opportunity or haven't had the drive or pull to come and experience these incredible nights that you've put together, what can they expect?
They can expect to come into a beautiful candlelit sanctuary. It's very welcoming and warm and inviting, and I think right away they would see how much love is in the space. And I think any place where we're allowed to freely and fully express all of who we are, it becomes very easy to love each other because we are loving ourselves.
Beautiful. Well, that's the end of our show. I think that everybody should come and experience what you have to offer. I really feel honored that you came on the show today.
Oh, it's great to be here.
We'll check in again maybe in a couple months and have you on again if you'd be willing to come in.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to thank our amazing guest, Eva Clay from Sacred Dance Live. Please visit her website, sacreddancelive.com. We'd like to thank our engineers, Taylor Hoskins and Rob Gainey. The show's produced by Bradley Quick Productions and is made possible by Fred Siegel, YouTube, Google Buzz Brothers, the Cool Change Radio Foundation. We'll be back next week at 2 o'clock. Thank you very, very much for joining us.
We hope you've enjoyed Love, Serve, Feed People, and Remember God. Thank you for your participation today. If you have feedback, requests, questions about healing, or you wish to be a guest on our show, please email us at www.loveserveandremember.com. That's loveserveandremember.com. Be well and take good care of each other.